stories to start your morning. Spurs Rockets won this game 109-93. Still no Kawhi for San Antonio. The season ended today. The Spurs would be the 10th seed and thus miss the playoffs. Also, if pizza was calorie-free, life would be amazing. CC, could the Spurs actually miss the playoffs?
No, I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs. This is a good game to watch, though. I haven't seen Chris Paul as much as I've watched him play this year. And I forgot how much I enjoy watching him play, man. When he has the ball in his hand, also as a defender, man, this is a good basketball team. If you haven't been watching the Rockets, man, watch the Rockets play.
Last night's game regarding Chris Paul reminded me of the game we were at against the Nets, where he seemed to control everything.
Yes.
The Rockets-Nets game in Brooklyn, where he seemed to control everything despite not scoring a bunch of points. But about the Spurs, now listen, they have 30 losses. Right now, the 4 seed has 29 losses, so you can slide up and down. But after they play Orlando tonight, 10 straight games against teams currently in the playoffs. The schedule is brutal. They're on a bad stretch. They need Kawhi back immediately, or else I do think it's in play. They missed the playoffs for the first time since the year they got Tim Duncan. The year before they got
Kawhi's going to be ready now.
Okay.
All right. Boston Celtics got hit with some bad news last night. Marcus Smart injured a tendon in his right thumb. He could miss extended time. Boy, those injuries are piling up for the Celtics. Nick, how big of a deal is this for Boston?
It's actually a really big deal. Marcus Smart's a weird player in that the stats, his individual stats, do not line up at all with his impact on the team. They go from being, as far as winning percentage-wise, an elite team to just an above-average team with and without Marcus Smart. He's already missed 13 games this year. They go from far and away the best defense in the NBA to outside of the top 5 defensively with and without Marcus Smart. He's a key guy and also what he allows Kyrie to do defensively, which is chill out somewhat. So for all those reasons, this could be a very big loss for them if he's not ready come the playoffs.
Jenna, he's what you call a glue guy. When you're trying to put together an organization or a championship team, you need several guys that like him, where their stats don't matter, they have a lot of grit to them, and they help cover up for some of the flaws that you have, potentially defensively with Kyrie, things you don't have to run plays for him. So as far as this Boston organization goes and how they go forward, I believe Marcus Smart is a key component to them getting a championship in Boston if they're going to be able to do that.
And now they got to get him healthy. 2 Western Conference point guards had monster nights last night. Russell Westbrook had a triple-double in a win over the Kings. Russ is the active leader in triple-doubles with 99. While Damian Lillard continued his hot streak, scoring 32 in a win over the Heat. Nick, which point guard is having the better season?
I think Dame's having the better season. I think Russ is my second favorite player to watch in the whole league. But Dame is shooting the same percentage as Russ, field goal percentage-wise, but 10 points better on threes. So his true shooting percentage way higher. He's doing it, I think, with a less talented supporting cast, and his team has won more. For all those reasons, I think right now, as much as I love Russ, Dame has had the better season.
Yes, I don't think you could represent Russ, especially coming off the MVP season, because we knew with Paul George going there, we knew with Melo being in the lineup that his numbers would definitely come back down to earth. But Damian Lillard is having a better season. You look at 26, almost 27 points a game in the top 5 as far as NBA players there, and the assist and rebounds 4 and 6. That's what you want to see from your point guard. I believe you could argue this is his best season. And when you look at the team's success, what he's done with this team, it's exceptional.
Absolutely. They're
All
3 seed right now.
Moving on to the golf. After a top 2 finish this weekend, Tiger Woods is the favorite to win at the Arnold Palmer Invitational this weekend. That is quite a sentence. It is the first time he's been favored to win since 2014. CC, where do you put Tiger's chances?
He definitely should be probably in the top 5. I believe there's a little bit of overhype to this.
Yeah.
With Tiger.
People like to bet on
how comfortable he is playing at Bay Hill. There's no golf course on tour, maybe besides Firestone, where he's won an awful lot at. Tiger loves this golf course, and it will be interesting to see because he's played throughout the last 4 weeks. It'll be interesting to see with a little bit of rest and him continuing to play how he's able to match last week's second-place finish.
You told us yesterday that Tiger has in his backyard 4 exact replicas of 4 different putting surfaces from throughout the PGA Tour. One of them Bay Hill.
Absolutely.
So he in his backyard he can practice what it's like to putt at this tournament. It's one of the reasons he's had success on this course. Listen, the Tiger winning tournaments is like LeBron winning championships to me. I just pick him every year. Just pick him every tournament. I'm one of the people betting on Tiger.
Another thing about it, the grass, because he's in Jupiter, Florida, which is a little bit north of where I have a place. Also, just a little south of Orlando. The grass is the same kind. You know, like to give people a little grass.
Is it? I don't know.
Okay. No.
All right, I'll stay out of
the
that lane.
same.
That's your lane. All right, my
that's
bad.
a flower.
Go ahead. Yeah, you're right. What's the grass I'm thinking? I'll think of it. Go ahead.
This grass. And finally, the Oh No Odell fallout continues. A few days after video surfaced of Giants receiver Odell Beckham Jr. holding what appeared to be an illicit substance, some have called for the Giants to move on from the young wide receiver. CC, how should the Giants handle Odell Beckham moving forward?
This is what we have to realize, too, with Odell's situation with the Giants. Even though he's been there, it's the only team he's been there. The general manager, Dave Gettleman, and the head coach, Pat Sherman, they just got there. So they deserve the chance, regardless of whatever happened with the other coaches, the other general manager, however the organization treated them before. Like these two gentlemen, they deserve the right to be able to try to guide his career in one direction or another. So it's easy for people to say, oh, they should get rid of him. Well, when you're trying to win football games and you're talking about getting rid of your best player, like what are your real options? Like what are they going to trade him for? Like are they going to get the right value for who he is?
And they'd be selling at an all-time low.
Absolutely.
Coming off an injury, that's what I mean. The timing of it, they would be trading Odell when his value has never been lower.
So what do they do?
I believe they're going to stay with him.
Or what do they do to send a message to him or to get through to him, or this idea of like talking to him and trying to get him to turn the page when the others couldn't?
This is the thing, because I know Shermer and Odell that they've met several times. And everything came out of the meeting very, very positive. But this is their first incident where they have something negative. How are they going to do? I believe that Gettleman, he is a very regimented person. Based on his history there in Carolina, I believe they will put forth some type of plan for Odell, that if he gets off of the path, that they aren't outside the team, that they're going to discipline him. That means he might miss some time. But I just believe as far as his contract negotiation, that's the best way to get his attention. He's saying he wants $20 million. Well, what he's saying and what they're going to pay him based on, like if he was to sign right now, he couldn't demand that type of salary. So I believe in their salary demands, they can put more restrictions on him or more pressure on him than they can based on, okay, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. Odell knows the right things to do. The thing is, at what point in his career is he going to be consistent in doing those things?
So I think I think trading him would be insane. He's the best player on their team by a wide margin in my eyes. He is one of the very best players at his position. He's had one of the best starts to a wide receiver's career ever. Like, I think trading him would be nuts. You wouldn't get value. But I think the fact that he wants a new contract right now could be beneficial to the Giants in this regard. What if they went to him right now when he's in the heart of this firestorm? Say, you know what? We're going to give you that. You want to be the highest paid receiver ever? That contract? We've written it up. Here it is. But they can put in there many more clauses, outs, things. Hey, you have all this money, but if you fail this drug test, guess what? The guaranteed money goes away. If you get in trouble for this, this is what happens. I feel like they have leverage to make it a team-friendly contract that makes him the highest-paid wide receiver ever. And now, listen, maybe that doesn't change the behavior. Maybe that's not enough of a carrot out there. But that way you could protect it's a huge carrot.
Big carrot.
And you could protect yourself.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Regardless of what they decide to do, Odell's got to make up his mind. Do I want to be a star, or do I want to be a great football player? Because right now, him going to premieres, red carpets, traveling around the world, like right now, he's trying to build his brand. You know, but as a football player, it's going to suffer. So he has to make up his mind. Like, what do you want to do? Like, he wants people to recognize him as being one of the greatest athletes in the world.
Right.
But really, what has he accomplished so far in the National Football League? So this is a very, very interesting time for him.
Can I ask you a question real quick on that? Mm-hmm. Those two things, though, aren't always at opposition. like building your brand as a star and becoming the best in the world at your craft.
Because
like,
the brand doesn't work if you can't make the football part.
No, of course, no, I understand that. But what I'm saying is we have seen guys in the past do both. I feel like we've seen Odell in the past. I mean,
who in the NFL have you seen do that?
I think Aaron Rodgers is a pretty damn big star, and I think he works very hard.
What have you seen him starring at? Football.
But also, he does more commercials than most guys. How about J.J. Watt? I think J.J. Watt does a lot of things that are, and I think Odell's done it. Like, I'm asking this. There was no objective here, but when I'm saying,
I don't think J.J. Watt and Aaron Rodgers have done the same type of things, or been to the same type of events that we've seen Odell at.
Certainly not the same type of events, but as far as publicly promoting yourself, like, my question is to you, do you think, because I don't know, do you think you can simultaneously build your brand while also working your ass off?
He don't have no brand unless he's playing football. He's no juggler. He can't sing. He can't dance like that. Okay? His brand is football. And to me, become an expert at that, I wouldn't be as concerned about the other things because I believe they are a detriment to you. All right? His brand needs to be a clean brand that matches up with the National Football League, not with some of the other brands that are out there. And to me, being a great football player is more important than all the other stuff.
So do we agree that do we think the Giants are going to punish him for this, whatever you call punish, or they're just going to let it slide and factor it into
the Giants can only do a certain amount based on the collective bargaining agreement, and it could have been a cigar and everything. I know I'm smart enough to know better, because even if it was that, the perception, all right, the perception of everything, the optics of it were very, very negative. He shouldn't have been in a place like that.
Right. All right, new topic now. Quarterbacks named Drew Brees. That's the topic. We've been hearing all offseason that the free agent Brees was staying with the Saints, NFL's version of a no-brainer. But with free agency beginning tomorrow and no deal done with New Orleans, the Vikings have reportedly reached out to Brees' agent to see if he'd have any interest in playing for Minnesota. Brees turned 39 earlier this year, but threw for 23 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions last season. CC, would Drew Brees make the Vikings the best team in the NFL?
Ooh, that's a tough question. They are already a very good football team. I would say them and the Eagles, I would still give the Eagles the edge. And the reason why is because Carson Wentz. Not Nick Foles, because Carson Wentz. And who he's going to be. The rest of this team, you can see develop it. They are going to have, if not the best defensive front, they're going to have one of the best defensive front. That offensive line, they get Jason Peters back next year, will be just as good or even better. Carson Wentz in his 3rd year, he'll be better. They got a couple running backs, all right? Their wide receiver, there are not a lot of high-maintenance guys there. So I like Philadelphia. I think right now Philadelphia would be the best team, and they're the Super Bowl champs. The Vikings, they would be a very, very good team. Quarterback was not a strong suit for them, but I'm still have concerns about their offensive line. In a game versus the Eagles, how would the Vikings offensive line do against the Eagles defensive front? I don't think it'd be as lopsided as an NFC Championship game, but that's a part of the game where the Eagles are superior to the Vikings.
Listen, the Eagles earned and deserve all the respect in the world. I do think that if you went from average quarterback play to Drew Brees, the level we've seen from Drew Brees the last few years, while maintaining the rest of your roster, I do think that would make.
But the Vikings haven't gotten average quarterback play. From Sam Bradford, when Sam Bradford was playing, he had the highest completion percentage in the National League. He had a winning record. All right? They didn't have a great offensive line or a running game. Case played great. Case threw for almost 3,600 yards.
So, okay, so what do we call what they got from the quarterback play last year? Slightly above average? I don't think it was. I don't think they had a top.
I mean, look at Case's numbers.
I understand it, but we are also watching those games. We know what they were getting at. They were not winning the game through the quarterback.
I think because of our optics, if you look at how many yards per game he threw for, what was his average completion? If we weren't looking at Case Keenum and we were looking we could look at with blindfolds, we wouldn't look at the Vikings and say, wow, the Vikings, you know what they have to do this offseason? They have to upgrade their quarterback. No, we thought they needed to sign Case and continue what they were doing.
I'm not saying they had to upgrade their quarterback. What I am saying is I think if we were to look at all the numbers, I think they got somewhere between the 11th to 15th most productive quarterback play last year. I think if you go from that to Drew Brees, which I would expect to be one of the 4 most productive quarterbacks until he stops being that, I do think you become the best team in the league. But if we could parse Eagles or Vikings, like it's
believe the Saints' offensive line is a lot better than the Vikings' offensive line when you rate them. The Saints have a top 5 offensive line.
I also, okay, fair, but I also think that Drew Brees has never in his career had a pair of wide receivers like they have in Minnesota right now. He's had good individual. Michael Thomas is an excellent player.
He had Brandon Cook and Michael Thomas.
But when they had those two guys together for the 1 year, they weren't able to quite get them on the same page, and Michael Thomas was a rookie. Like, he had Marcus Colston, who was a great player, but he didn't always have the complement. He had Joe Horn, who was a really good player, didn't always have the complement. But again, we're kind of parsing here. They would be one of the best teams in the league. We should tell the audience, why is this even a possibility? What's going on with New Orleans? Why did this?
That's what I want to know. What is New Orleans thinking?
Well, it looks like according to the reports, the ownership there does not want to pay Drew Brees $30 million a year. And Drew Brees, understandably, is like, you got to be kidding me. I saw what Jimmy Garoppolo got. I see what Kirk Cousins is about to get. And Drew Brees they both have leverage here. The Saints have leverage in that all reports are Drew Brees and his wife don't want to leave New Orleans.
They want to stay there.
Where he has leverage is this. His contract's odd, and it's a little boring, so I'll just be quick here. If they don't get a new contract done with him by 3 p.m. tomorrow, they take an $18 million cap charge based on the dead money left on his deal. If they do get a new deal done, they can make that $6 million a year for the next 3. So Drew Brees does have a bit of a deadline he can place on them, like, hey, if we don't have this done by tomorrow afternoon, that's $18 million of your $30 million in cap space gone. But you talked about this before the show. It doesn't seem like Drew and his family are in a hurry to leave New Orleans, like that's their prerogative necessarily.
Well,
yes.
And also, if the Saints are hesitant, are they worried that he doesn't have anything left in the tank to pay him for another 3 years?
No, the Saints are running the business. Like, they're trying to see, they like to have Drew Brees, but at what price do they want to have him, and do they have to mortgage? Because they just started this last group of rookies that they drafted. Like, man, they don't want to mortgage the future. They feel like, man, we have some young stars in Lattimore, Michael Thomas, would you mention there? Like, they have some young stars. If we give Drew Brees $30 million, if we give $90 million over 3, when these other contracts and the rest of the team, are we going to be able to put a team out there? It's a strange contract, but I believe with people calling Drew Brees yesterday, with free agency open, I believe that will shock them enough that they potentially will get a deal done before that deadline.
Let me ask you the same question. How much does he have left in the
I think he's got plenty left. I actually don't look at this at all, that the Saints are doubting what he has left. I think this is a bit of a game of chicken. I think Saints management believes he's never leaving. Like, I think they believe they can get him on a discount because he wants to stay there. He's played for another franchise, but this is the franchise everyone knows him as. Nobody remembers. It is a big gamble. But I don't think if they at any moment, like,
I mean, what's the gamble? He ends up with the Saints or the Vikings.
Well, the gamble is the Saints don't have Drew Brees. And now they got to start from scratch when all the free agent
not a gamble for
quarterbacks
Brees.
are off the
No.
market.
He thought you were saying a gamble for Drew.
Oh, no.
No,
Drew's
a gamble
gonna
for the
drive
Saints.
it.
It's a gamble for the Saints, but I think they believe he's not going to leave there and that he has already set up things post-playing career in New Orleans that benefit him greatly to stay in New Orleans where he won a championship.
Yeah, a little outside pressure. Vikings called yesterday.
Yeah. See if that moves the needle. The Vikings called. Chris Carter tweeted.
Chris Carter put a little pressure
we got a lot
as
out
well.
there.
It's a lot of muscle.
I mean, we owe Drew Brees a miracle or two.
Hey, coming up, is it looking more and more like Eli Manning will be the Giants quarterback next season? We've got a big, tall, strapping fella coming in to talk about that next. David Deal is here to break it down.
David Deal.
What's up, David?
What's up, bro?
Morning.
Good seeing you, bro.
Always good to be here.
Got you